Hey friends, it's Renee. I'm going to be doing a smaller spirit guide reading today. Um, I was drawn to these three decks to pull out for this particular client, and that is because I got excited because they were talking about intergalactic energy. Now, until recently, I felt kind of alone in that aspect, that searching in the stars kind of. Alien worlds, other lives on alien worlds, entirely different kind of body systems. So here comes my dogs. They always come in for spirit guide readings. They're like up in here, whether I'm typing it or videoing it. And I guess that's a good sign, as my daughter would say, green choice. So we have the Everyday Witches Tarot, which is my absolute favorite, my go-to deck. Then I have the Deviant Moon Tarot and the Book of Shadows As Above Tarot. And I felt pulled to these ones. This one I felt, I use it most often, so I'm sure that's why my hands went to it. And I was going through my tarot basket, and I thought, oh, I might bring up an oracle deck or something, but my hands found these ones, and these were the ones I wanted to bring up and work with for you today. So we're going to go into the spirit guide reading. We're going to open with kind of just going in and asking the guides to be present in the reading. I've already shuffled the cards, but I haven't flipped any of them over yet. So we're going to kind of see what comes up as we go. But we're just going to ask that your guides are present in the reading and that they convey something that you need to hear, something they want you to know, and something that helps you see their presence in your life. So we're going to start with, I like to start with pretty much always the representative of the spirit guide. And I think I'm going to pull, so a part of this comes from me and what I think my intuition, but my intuition and my belief is that is fueled to me by spirit guides, angels, fairies, and the divine. So I feel as though your guide wants me to pull one from each deck, and that's why I was really drawn to these cards here. So we have the Hanged Man from the Everyday Witches, the King of Swords from the Deviant Moon, and already I'm drawn right here. Your spirit guide being this presence out in the universe, and then you're down here on Earth right now in this lifetime. And reversed Five of Air, and I actually don't feel reversal energy. I feel like there still be some flipped cards, but I'm not feeling reversal energy here. So I think I flipped the deck the wrong direction. So the Five of Air. So I feel like there's definitely, I don't have my computer in here, and I'm recording on my phone, so I can't look at your statement, but I want to say that you have ideas about your guides, but you aren't able to communicate with them, or you said you weren't, you knew they were there, but you haven't had much visual on them or signs from them. So I feel like some of this Hanged Man energy is that it's like your guide is here, they're there with you. I'm not feeling male or female energy here in this reading right off the bat. So I feel as though this spirit guide is just not, I feel like this is one that's been with you with many lifetimes and as the guide, and hasn't taken an earthly form or any other kind of tangible form in a long time, and because of that they don't have like a gender feeling about them. I also feel like maybe the place they originally came from didn't really have genders, so that's interesting, because I'm not getting a vibe of one way or the other for gender here, but I'm definitely feeling that they're here with you, and that's just there's a disconnect. You haven't been able to entirely feel that energy yet. And then that knight, I keep saying knight, King of Swords, like visually, I feel like this is very much the guides here, like you're down here and I'm up here watching you. I feel this separation here. because visibly these two creatures on the deck, these two people on the deck are very, it's like they're the same, but they're very, like arms, legs, head, eyes, nose, but they're very different coloring. You know, the one's poised and up and the other one's down, and then the horns and everything. So I'm definitely feeling something about same and disconnect. And I feel like your guide is telling you, maybe at one point you guys were the same. So I feel like maybe you guys did share, what do they call it? I don't know, tangible form at one point in your past together. And that's maybe how the two of you met. I feel like they were more at the end of their goal of soul exploration, soul completion, and you were more at the beginning of yours, and that's why they've been with you. It's because the two of you met in that lifetime, and you've stuck side by side ever since. And then here with this 5 of air, which would normally be like that 5 of swords energy, you know, I feel that some of the reason why there's been that disconnect is, was there, you know, like a time period in your life that you felt, because I'm feeling like these little fairies, like, you know, they're tracing the lines of the hand, but I feel like they're like the energy I'm getting here is like they're all darting off in different directions kind of really fast. So was there like a point in your life where what you believed was kind of shunned or looked down on? I feel like you weren't, either you weren't raised in your house in this kind of feeling, this spiritual feeling that you have. Either you weren't raised in that, or it was something that in your community was kind of looked down upon for your whole family. But so I'm feeling like that energy, like that darting around energy, a lot of being pulled into different directions, and that's why you've had a hard time speaking with your guides. It's just because I feel like some of that is still left on you. Like, I feel like you're very open to spirituality. You're pretty set in your beliefs, your spiritual beliefs. I feel like you're still growing. You know, we're all still growing, but I feel like you've been having like a surge lately. I feel like a spiritual surge, or you're in either starting one or you're in the middle of one, but there's like a surge there of spiritual energy. And so it's kind of canceling out some of your old processes and old ways of thinking or doing things, and creating these new ideas in your head. And I feel like that's maybe causing a little bit of that blocked energy right now. I wish I didn't have that shine. It's going to be yeah. Let me see if I can move this over a little bit. There we go. Then I can move my journal. Sorry. So I'm definitely getting like that, just that quick darting feeling. And, you know, traditionally that 5 of swords, I guess, is kind of like that as well. Like that, you know, different ideas, different directions, you know, taking more than what you deserve. I don't feel that for you, but I feel like that is the energy that's going into some of your spiritual blockage. Not that you're taking more that you deserve, if you understand what I mean, but it's just because your mind is still moving in a few different directions. I do strongly feel, though, your idea is confirmed here. Your feeling, your intuition is completely confirmed about extraterrestrial spirit guide energy. When this, the next one I wanted to do is a message for you right now. So King of Wands. Okay. Whoops. I wanted to do it. Sorry, I get weird. So that way, this way. Ooh, so the message for you right now. So, okay, I feel these two very connected. That 7 of Swords, that taking off and finding a new direction, and this very much like this planting on the earth. It's very interesting to me that we've seen a couple images with earth already. The 7 of Fire, believe this is Uranus. I'm not completely up to code on astrology, everything yet. That's something I'm actually working on in 2019. I have other plans this year for expansion, but 2019 is astrology. But I feel like this is Uranus. So right here, I see like a lot of that extraterrestrial, that exploration, and then we have the Wheel of Fortune here, and it came out reversed. I feel like this lifetime here, the point you're in right now, I'm getting a vibe of things are in other people's hands. Well, hands, interesting, but like, a lot of times we can feel like we don't have control over our lives and things are like spiraling out of control. Well, I feel like you're in a position right now at this point in your life where there are things that are definitely out of your control. I feel like your guide is saying you might not have control over these situations, whatever is going on right now. I'm feeling like a strong female energy in this situation that your guides are pointing out. It's like someone who made you a promise or was helping, or responsibility, something where they're in charge of some aspect of your life. And they're not listening to your input, and they're kind of backing out of some things that they had placed down, I feel like here. So right now I'm feeling like this situation is definitely, some of it's out of your control. I feel like your guide is saying, what you choose to do with this situation, how you choose to react. If you decide to stay and continue to stay in this situation, these are things you are in control of. But the actual situation itself, I feel like there's parts of it that you definitely cannot change. Your outlook, finding the positive parts of the situation that's going on, I feel like those are going to help you in the long run with your manifestation skills. But I'm feeling a strong sense of just, it might be time to walk away from whatever this is. Walk away from this job or this, well, that word came out of nowhere. So maybe that's what it is. This job, this interest that you're holding with someone, this connection to someone. I'm feeling female energy here is really screwing something up for you. And I feel like your guide is saying it's okay to walk away. Like, if that is what you believe and you feel inside of yourself, it is okay to walk away from this right now. In your heart what is best for you. Deepest in your soul what is best for your spiritual growth. And this, even if this situation has nothing to do with spirit, in a very visible, understandable way, it does weigh down on your spirit and does make some things harder for you. And I feel like too that some of that that connection to that waiting, that some stuff being out of your hands, I feel like some of that is why you're having a hard time connecting with your guides, like really getting messages from them. It's just because of that energy. A lot of that is weighing you down physically. And this being the Wheel of Fortune here, that major arcana card, along with that Hanged Man right away. It's just, this is a universal lesson. I mean, this is just one of those things that we cannot control everything. And maybe like a little bit of you is trying to control a situation or holding on to when you can gain control of it again. I don't think it's going to be going to work out that way. I keep feeling like female energy and something about work. So, but I'm sure, if this is going on already, you kind of got an idea of what your guide is talking about. And if not, it'll be happening soon. And I feel like this is coming in just such a way that it's going to be real obvious for you when it does start happening. And then a message that your guide has tried to tell you before, but that you've not, either been unable to hear or unwilling to hear. Again, so I feel, this Two of Wands, or sorry, Two of Fire, which is the same. I have a couple other decks, the Two of Wands. They have like that globe in them, so I feel again like that exploration here. This is reversed, so that's interesting. We'll look into that in a second, but that just right away jumped out at me. Then we have the Eight of Wands. So definitely, it's almost like your guide's been trying to talk to you about that same situation. That Wheel of Fortune out of control situation, because here we have the Eight of Wands, and it's like, trying to start something small and it explodes into something big, and then it just keeps going and going and going until it gets too far out of control that you can't reel it in or bring it back in. Even fathom having control over it or how you started this. I definitely feel that here. So with the reversed, I would say King, Knight of Cups, I'm getting that energy of your emotions running out of control. Now, I don't know if this is referring back to that original situation we were looking at a moment ago, or if this is a different situation. But I feel like your emotions can get the best of you sometimes. I mean, they can get the best of all of us, but I really feel like your guide has been trying to tell you something about your emotions getting out of control. Perhaps you've been taking something too personally. Had an argument or a fight with someone about I can't see what about. Something about food, maybe, or popcorn. I'm not sure, but that was a weird image. But so there is something that someone did or said, and it wasn't about you. Their feelings weren't about you. Their thoughts weren't about you. It was more about something they were going through, or they were working on, or going to do. And some part of that hit you like a brick, really. And you felt like this was about you, like they were coming after you about this problem, whatever it is, this situation, what they were trying to figure out. They were coming at you about it. I don't feel like that's the case. Like, I feel like your guides very much are trying to tell you that, and you may know this now, you guys may have had a blowout and then talked about it and figured it out, but I feel like your guide's trying to tell you definitely to start to, slow down sometimes and think about things before you let your emotions take over and go through that. Whoops, let me just throw that card on the floor. Ouch. And then that Two of Wands, I'm pulled back to this one right here. Like, this argument, I feel like may have been between you and two other people instead of one person, or something that one other person did with another person. Like, but I'm picking up like friendship vibes, like maybe left out kind of feeling. But I feel like your guide here is telling you, this wasn't about you. This wasn't a slight towards you. It wasn't supposed to be mean to you. This was just how it unfolded. I feel like I'm getting with that. I'm also getting with this, like, just confirmation, like more confirmation, because instantly when I picked this up, I thought of Earths that I see in the other cards, and just more of that confirmation about extraterrestrial. Sorry, my voice is like blah, blah, blah sometimes. So, how to recognize when your guides are talking to you. Oh no, wait. But now we know it's coming up. Next phase. Oh, nice. So with this, I really like visual clues. I like to be told something. So when I'm looking at this, the signs, not shininess. I'm picking up the color blue. Abundance of blue. I'm also picking up a lot of that, let me say, the sky energy, So like, you know, here we have snow and here we have birds in the sky. I'm feeling more pulled towards those birds. Let me see what we have with the Emperor. Okay, so we're going to get to the Emperor in a second. I'm feeling most drawn here to these two cards for physical, literal signs you can see in your life. I see I feel like a drive, driving, going on a trip, or just a errand that takes longer. The birds, I feel like there's a lot of birds in the sky, and in these moments I feel like your guides are saying, pay attention to what's going on now. Don't, like, I feel like your mind was wandering, like you'll start thinking about something else and that could be dangerous on the road. That's what I'm getting right here. I'm just really seeing a visual of those birds appearing to you as a sign. I feel like there's lots and lots of them in the sky, you know, not just a couple, but a lot. So maybe that's like blackbirds. Like, I think those are the ones that fly, like a whole bunch of them, and they do that cool, like, wavy pattern up in the sky. But I'm pulled to that, you know, I'm pulled to, if we look at this, you know, we've got a couple of visual, like that arm up into the sky. And what's also interesting too is we have an ace and we have a crone, and they're two different suits, but it's like that beginning and ending energy. So I feel like your guide is really kind of pulling you to pull energy from below and push it upwards. So I feel like rooting, learning to root yourself is what I'm seeing. I see like vines extending from your fingertips and going into the earth, like this visualization. I feel like sometimes like you get a little overwhelmed or confused. Maybe when you go into your spiritual practice, and that is your guide kind of shaking you by the shoulder and reminding you to ground yourself to the earth. So I feel like it's definitely like a little bit of, I don't want to say like irresponsibility, because it's not the right, I'm not getting like irresponsible from you. I'm just getting like, you know, that moment where we all, like, for every one of us, like, we get caught up in something that we just want to plow forward with it. It's a really important moment to stop what you're doing, pay attention to what's going on around you. So before I go further, I feel like in these moments you feel maybe a little queasy. You have a spot on your body that will kind of tingle or ache, or maybe even go numb. I'm not sure, but it's like a spot on your body, like your shoulder, or elbow, or something. Maybe even like a recurring twitch in your shoulder or something. But I feel like it's a very physical touch. Your guide trying to touch you and tell you, pay attention to what's going on around you. So I definitely feel that in like the travel situation, like in the car, you know, and it might not even be like you driving. You could be like on a train or a bus or something, and someone's being sketchy, and there's like that awakening inside of you, like, pay attention. Like, you see birds flying by. It's like, pay attention. That feeling that you're getting about that person being sketchy, they are, you know, move seats if you can. So, and then I'm definitely drawn to like a tapping or a movement when I'm curious here. I'm going to take the lower part of those cards there. So a tapping or a touch somehow when you need to wake up and pay attention. But that will also come, I feel like, a lot of times in conjunction with those all those birds you would see in the sky. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Everybody down. Everybody down. Okay. So this Six of Swords, so it's not really birds, but I see like those leaves flying in the air. And then we did see the snow here. So maybe it is a lot of just like that sky energy. Like you'll see things blowing and flying around in the sky, and that's your moment to wake up. I feel this Queen of Swords came out reversed, telling me you rely sometimes too much on your mental energy. Um, your mind shuts down. I feel like your intuition. It tells you to stop believing your intuition because A, B, and C. Like it's very, very controlling of you almost. I feel like you have a very kind of analytical, strict, serious mind, and that can kind of take over your emotions. And so like I really saw that earlier with your emotions kind of going out of control. It's because of this. I feel like they're connected. You wouldn't think that, but a lot of times like you could probably avoid emotional conflict that you go through that is what do you want to say, unnecessary, because your intuition would wake up and tell you the truth, but your mind is shutting down your intuition. You're just thinking too seriously about that. And the Emperor card, that I'm getting again like that sense of extraterrestrial. I kind of am almost getting like this visual of right here. It's like right where my focus is. Like he's trying to tell us something about pushing down, holding down. Like I feel like this connection to the two of you kind of having an argument of sorts between lives. Like I feel like everything is good now, but you're definitely like in lesson mode. So there's something I feel like that you keep trying to do and you keep getting pushed down because you're focusing too much with that mind energy, I feel like, and he's pushing you down and telling you, and I feel like that was maybe some of your lesson from your last time, and that's why I'm seeing it and feeling it here, is opening up your intuition again, opening up your mind and your soul to the story that is around you. So I feel like sometimes when you're making plans and lists and you're focusing mental energy on that, you'll keep finding things, kind of roadblocks popping up in front of you. But I feel like if you, and maybe some of that's that emotional outburst, emotional feeling I was getting earlier. But then if you are able to use your intuition and use some of your spiritual, I'm going to put this down here, will that work better? Spiritual energy to open up more to combining your spiritual, okay, sorry, a lot of this is coming like in visuals and feelings, so sometimes it takes me a moment to figure out what exactly. I feel like there's something definitely to the moon phases for you. Feeling moon energy is very strong for you, but I don't feel like this is something that you've tapped into completely and have worked completely. But I feel like there's something about following the phases and not just new moon and full moon, but as the month goes on, and something about those energies and making plans around those. I feel like that would be less of that roadblock for you. I feel like that's very much that energy that he's pointing at, and he's almost like circling here, is very much that moon sky energy. And then so that it's funny, I got a lot of that, and that was from how to recognize when your guide is talking to you. So I think some of that is when mentally you know something should be working and it's not. That's when you know he's talking to you. He's reminding you to follow that moon. Follow that moon. Sorry, sometimes I sing. It's not good for anyone, is it? Then we have what was this? Spiritually moving forward. So and your guide helping you. So we have this, the Eight of Pentacles is immediately where my mind goes. I feel that, like becoming a master at this, becoming a master of what your spiritual path is currently leading you on, like pick a part of this and become a master at that. I'm feeling moon energy from your guide. I'm feeling that right here for you, but of course, use your intuition, open yourself up, and find where your strengths are. Now, the reversed one of water is the Ace of Cups. So whenever I see this, I think my water, my cup floweth over. Like there's just so much available for you. It just feels like you can't contain it all, and it just keeps flowing and flowing out of you. This is reversed. And this Four of Cups, looking for something better consistently. Having all this stuff in front of you and still looking elsewhere. So I feel like that is a lot of your spiritual journey. Now, it is up to each of us to follow our path and move forward and figure out what works for us. So just because you're on this journey doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that. Just because you are going into a spiritual path and then finding it's not working for you, or feeling like there's something better for you, something else you're meant for, there's nothing wrong with that. But that is going to give you some of that cup not flowing over at the moment feeling. It's going to give you, it's going to constantly, I feel like both these cards here are connecting, like constantly that, there's something else out there, and once you find it, you're going to, just explode with creative and spiritual energy. Now, going from spiritual journey to spiritual journey, finding your belief, you're not going to be able to become a master in your entirety of your spiritual journey. But what I feel like this card is here for you is telling you the way to find that is by picking one thing that you're very much attracted to. Now, if you've already accomplished one thing, find another thing spiritually that you're attracted to. Like I said, I was feeling the moon phases for you and working with moon energy, but if that is just too much, overwhelming, you want to start smaller, or you're really interested in palm reading. I couldn't think of the word. I was like hand lining. What? So, really find something and figure out how it works for you. There's also, books and stuff on, and I know you mentioned, I think some of them that you had, but about, the extraterrestrial past life energy. So, I feel like that's somewhere that you can move into, but I don't feel like your guide necessarily wants or expects you to pick like this whole big path and figure out all this stuff. But I feel like they are definitely pointing you towards picking just one thing and working from there. And I feel like that one thing is really going to be like this one thing, the one thing you've been waiting for to kind of open your eyes to everything. And I feel like it's definitely going to take that my cup is dumping out to my cup is flowing over energy. So over and over again in this reading, I was definitely feeling like other planets. I was feeling a lot of moon energy, as I said, I'm sure so many times that you don't want to hear that word again. So I'm definitely feeling too, like astrology could be something for you, but I feel like your guide is here, and they're waiting to talk to you. They're waiting for you to kind of, see them standing there. So, I feel like their form, what I'm seeing for your guide's form, it's not like a human form. So it's not like that energy, or that visibility of like a head, body and everything, arms, legs. I'm feeling like more of a softer form, and I don't know if this is because it's soul energy. I just saw like a wreath of leaves when I closed my eyes just now. I see like white white shoes, kind of, I guess you could call them like ballet shoes. I don't know if that's what they're still called, but those flats. So I feel like that's something that's in the spiritual plane when the two of you are together. I see that wreath and those shoes somewhere there. And there is my moon card at the bottom. So at this deck, when I'm doing readings, past life and spirit guide readings, a lot of times if I'm feeling something, it will appear at the bottom as the shadow card or right off the bat at the top. And it's always a message from my guides. So I usually will shuffle. And once I start to notice it coming out, popping out of the deck, appearing, I know that we're definitely in a strong connection with your guides. So I'm feeling that wreath. I don't know what that wreath is, like that, the leaf wreath. So I don't know if that's like something that you wear over your head, put on your door, but I feel like there's something about that that's going to be helpful for you going forward in your spiritual path. I also feel like there's something about those ballet slippers, and I don't feel like it's go out and buy some, but I feel like there's either you'll be wearing a pair or you'll run into someone wearing a pair, and that's going to be an important spiritual moment when that happens. Trying to see if there's anything else. I get a number 27, and I see a blue like Volkswagen Bug. Again, these are signs. I don't know what they mean for you, if they mean anything yet, and when they will mean something for you. But they're just things that your guide is showing me. And then I see like I see a lake or another large body of water, a little bit smaller than a lake, maybe like a pond. I see you standing there, and you yourself are like this yellow, like bright sunlight yellow. I feel you standing there with your guide, and I feel like this is probably when you guys met. You were a newer soul, and they were a much older soul. I'm feeling their colors like a greenish, like an earthy green. And the two of you are standing by the water, and I feel like he's imparting wisdom and stories from his life to you. And I feel like this is kind of a tradition, like as it's his last life on earth, and or not on earth. This is not an earthly vision at all. This is where you guys met, on this other planet. I feel like this was a tradition there. Like this is a planet where souls were past lives, where everything is very understood and explored. And I feel like this is a tradition there when someone is in their last soul life, before they complete their soul mission and journey, that they meet with a very young soul, someone who's maybe brand new. So I just saw a hand. Is very, very long, very thin fingers, and it's coming from your body like that, in your yellow, your golden sunlight yellow. So I feel like this is a very important moment for both you, an exchanging of energy and some kind of bond being made, connecting for basically an eternity until you are done with your soul's purpose and completion. So I feel like that is your guide showing you a moment that you can kind of reflect on, that you can think about maybe, and go into, and start to go into when you want to kind of try to meditate and meet with them. I feel like that's why they just show me that that moment right there. But that has been your spirit guide, your small spirit guide reading. I hope you enjoyed it. I am at the moment now where I feel like I have no idea what we just talked about, because it's like when I'm channeling like that energy and those words, it's like everything's very visible, and then when they're kind of like, okay, like you're at the end of your energy here, or I don't have much else to say that is going to be helpful at this moment, while you absorb the other information, I feel like they pull back and I get exhausted and I really don't know much what just happened. So that was your reading. I hope you really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed doing that for you. I really appreciate you ordering that for my shop. And if you were just watching and you're not my client who ordered this reading, this was this was a small spirit guide reading, which is available on my Etsy shop, which you can find by searching Witchy Renee Bradshaw, all one word. Okay, you guys have a really blessed afternoon. Bye.